Welcome everybody to SnakChat, the show where we chat with guests while we do some taste tests. And today we have a very special show for you. It's the Oscars special, and joining me to help preview the biggest night in Hollywood, got Harvey and Cathy and the executive director of Downtown Frankfort Incorporated, Suzy Hosley.
Hello. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, Suzy. Now, Suzy, you're in an interesting position here where these two are no stranger to our set. But this is their debut episode, SnakChat, and you're a veteran.
Yeah. You're a SnakChat.
This is your second time.
Yeah, yes. I've been so excited about this show for ever since me and you chatted back in December. Yeah. I've been so excited. So thanks for having me. I'm starting to think I should just come and have an office here. I just need to be on your list.
Yeah,
payroll.
We'll make that
happen. So fun. Yes.
Yeah. Do that.
Okay, so we're talking about the Oscars, doing a little Oscars preview. Just to start us off, Harvey, share with the viewers and with me, what's your kind of relationship to the Oscars and to the Academy Awards? Something you've liked for a long time?
We're besties.
Yeah, besties. What's your relationship to Oscar?
No. That was something that it was for sure appointment viewing in my house as a child. My parents watched it every year, and I can remember they took me to see Amadeus.
Oh, yeah.
I must have been 7. There was really no reason for me. I mean, it was, but they were like, this is a great movie. You should watch it. It might win the Academy Award.
Yeah.
And so, they always made a point to see most of the nominated movies for Best Film. And so, I think like a lot of us maybe kind of, I've always been into films, but kind of drifted away from that for a little while. Other things were more important. But, I think back in the last, 10 years getting back into focus, and I'm excited, and having this is a reason to do it now. It's too
fun.
Yeah,
because we did a little Oscars preview last year. The three of us did, and so it's kind of reframed a little bit of it. And kudos to your parents for finding those movies from back in the day. It was back when they had 5, but it's not like they had streaming services or anything. Catch it. Cathy, what about you?
I'm the same. My parents were all about the movies. My dad loved the movies. And even if we were going to the movies, he took us to see Star Wars. We saw E.T. He wanted to make sure that he wanted to see the movies more than we did, but he always took us because he wanted to go.
Yeah. Right.
So he's like, "Come on."
Yeah.
But other than that, too, then also at home, he was always a big classic movie watcher.
Oh, sure.
So on TV, it was always classic movies and a lot of black and white stuff. He introduced us to Singing in the Rain, which we just loved. Casablanca was his favorite movie ever, so we saw that many times. And so just being introduced to what are considered classic movies. And again, we watched the Academy Awards every year. And then when I was older and we were watching them, then a friend of mine, then we had ballots.
Oh, cool.
With when we would watch them, we would go through and make our picks. And then see, who won. We would just spend it was like a party, and everybody would mark off who got that one right.
Yeah. I was thinking that had just been kind of a recent sort of thing, but it sounds like people have been doing that on their own for a long time. I know you can do it on the internet now, or they have the different ballots.
No, this was you had copies. Everybody got a copy.
That's really cool.
Analog. I would say for sure though, if you're interested in old time movie, history, go watch an old. Broadcasts of the Academy Awards. A lot of them are on YouTube. You see all the clips and the people, and it's it takes you back going and doing that.
Suzy, what about you? Oscars?
I'm the same, and I think as you learned back in December, I'm a huge movie buff. For me, it's it's what marks my childhood sometimes. I'm like, oh, that was the year that Forrest Gump came out. Or, when you think back, it's so intertwined in my childhood. Yep. And my parents, same way. We grew up watching the classics. And I feel like that, movies and food are really how you can relate with someone. That's usually the conversation starter.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, I've always loved the Oscars. I used to dress up. For the Oscars when I was younger. I would go put makeup on and get a dress, watch the Oscars. And then in my 20s, my friends and I, we would have an Oscars party. Nice. And during the commercials, we would have our own awards. I would get chocolate coated, gold coated, chocolate wrappers, and we would be like a best dish for 2020, and that goes to who had the best party this year. So we've always had fun, with the Oscars.
That's awesome. I'm glad everybody has had a nice relationship to the Academy Awards for a long time. For me, I think I've always been interested and always watched the ceremony, and I think mostly because it's just sort of it's one of those pop culture, one of the few pop culture events that happen every year that we can all kind of share as a community, kind of shared experience. Yeah, monoculture moments like the Super Bowl, and so it's a fun, because as we know, lots of stuff happens. Sometimes the wrong movie gets named. Sometimes an actor gets on stage and smacks another person. Yeah. Right. Hopefully that doesn't happen ever again. But you never know sometimes, and you never know who's gonna win as well.
Exactly.
But Suzy, I like what you said about movies and food. We've combined both of those things today. That's a perfect segue for Snack Chat today. I think we'll go ahead and start off before we do our first snack.
Okay.
We'll break down some of the awards. The way it'll work, just for folks at home so they know, we're going to talk about the big categories: your supporting actor and actress, lead actor and actress, animated, best. We'll do our favorite pick categories of some stuff we wanted to chat about: best director and best picture. And then we're also so through those categories, we're going to share what movies we think should win, and then what movies we think will win, because it might not always be the same.
Right.
So to start us off, as the broadcast usually does, they usually start off with supporting. So let's start off there with supporting actress.
Okay.
I'm going to read off the nominees for everybody. Monica Barbaro from A Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande from Wicked, Felicity Jones from The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini from Conclave, and Zoe Saldana from Emilia Perez. Harvey, we're going to start it off with you. You're in the hot seat first. What do you think?
This might be my favorite category as far as the quality of performances, across the board. So this is, I haven't seen all of the films. I've seen most of the ones in this category. I think Zoe Saldana will win. I think Emilia Perez is, maybe we'll get to predictions later on the bigger ones, but I think this might be one where it can pick up a victory. I think should win is Ariana Grande. I thought she was so awesome in Wicked.
I like that.
Just such a unique kind of take on that, and it was just, I loved it. But I'll also honorable mention, it's not part of the thing, but I'm going to make my own rule on this one, Monica Barbaro in A Complete Unknown.
Are you reading my mind?
Well, hey, we both have great taste. It's fine. Right. But I thought her portrayal of Joan Baez was one of my favorite parts of the film. Right. And so I wish that I could choose her. I just think the other performances are so good that it's hard to bump her up to that point. But great recognition for her performance for sure. I was glad that she was included.
But recap. You said Zoe Saldana will win, you think?
Yeah, okay. My prediction, and then my should win is Ariana Grande.
Okay. Suzy, what about you?
Yeah.
Supporting actress.
Great minds think alike.
Hey.
I also want to add one thing that I love about the Oscars that I mentioned earlier is seeing what everybody's wearing. I just love,
the red carpet.
The red carpet. Oh my gosh, yes, the fashion statements of the Oscars. I 100% agree with Harvey. For me, thinking about the supporting actress, I remember when I watched Wicked, I wasn't a huge Ariana Grande fan. I was how is she gonna be? Yeah. How's she gonna do this role?
Yeah.
And when you have a supporting actress that almost pretty much steals the show,
right?
Which is what she did in my opinion.
Right.
She turned me into a major fan of hers. I thought she was fabulous in it. So I'm with you. I think she should get it, but I think it will go to Zoe. I think she's gonna, when you watch usually the Golden Globes is the precursor for the Oscars. So
I haven't been watching, so I haven't tracked all of the, so these are
different award shows.
Yeah.
But she has been picking up a lot of those, the precursor awards.
And she was great in it.
She was great in it. Oh, yeah.
It starts with the Golden Globes, but then they have the Critics' Choice, they have the Screenwriters Guild, BAFTAs, they have the Directors Guild, the Producers Guild.
Both of those were just this past weekend. We're recording this on Wednesday, the 12th, for folks at home, whenever you're watching us. But I think the at the Screen Actors Guild, the SAG Awards are coming up soon, either this weekend or next. But she's been racking up a lot of those precursor ones. Kathy, what about you?
Well, I hate to just go along with the crew, but that's what I had. I think Zoe Saldana will win. I would like to see Ariana Grande win. Again, everything they said, she was great. I went in not a huge fan because I've seen her on Disney, and my child's a big fan of hers, so I'm like, okay, but she was fabulous, and fabulous performance. And then again, I like Harvey's honorable mention to Monica Barbaro. All of those actors, and that's the note I have for that film, in A Complete Unknown. Excellent performances by everybody because they did their own music. They sang their own songs and played their own instruments.
I saw recently, I think Monica Barbaro did an event with Joan Baez. And I don't know if she was on the stage with her, but she actually met her, and I think they had a little experience. So.
I have to say, I have not. Like, that's one of the movies I haven't seen yet that I really want to see. I'm kicking myself for not seeing it at the Grand this past weekend.
It's in my top 3.
I know that if I love a musical autobiography or biography, and
I like the biopics.
I do, and I have heard nothing but amazing things about this movie, and I want to see it so bad. So I'm sure I would have very similar opinions as you guys.
Well, I would have expected. I mean, it was a who's who there on Saturday night. I mean, the mayor was there, Jim Seaver was there, I was there. We could have had an episode of Around Town there.
I was maybe working.
Fair enough. He could have bounced in and bounced out.
Rounding us out, though, I'll agree with you guys that I think Zoe Saldana will win the Best Supporting Actress. And I think I'll say she should win as well. I think it's been fun for me. She's been a part of a lot of big tentpole franchises for a long time. Back in Star Trek. And she's been in the Avatar movies. She's been in Guardians of the Galaxy. So we've seen her in that regard, just kind of supporting in these roles. But she really, a lot of this movie hinges on whether or not you like Zoe Saldana and you believe her. We can get into the Amelia Perez of it all maybe later, but that's one of the for me few bright spots in that movie is her performance. So I got to give her some credit there. Supporting actor. Suzy, why don't you start us off with this one?
Yes.
I'll read the nominees for everybody. Yura Borisov from Anora, Kieran Culkin from A Real Pain, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong from The Apprentice.
Okay, so in fairness, there's several of those movies I have not seen. Again, I know probably my opinion's going to change when I see A Complete Unknown, but I will say I loved A Real Pain. I absolutely loved it, and I thought Kieran Culkin was wonderful in it. I love the duo between him and Jesse Eisenberg. Yes, and so that would be my top. Just he was so good, and Kieran Culkin for me.
That's for some reason that's one that's passed me by. I think it's streaming right now. I'm probably going to catch it here in the next few days. I want to watch it for sure before the Oscars. But I know Jesse Eisenberg wrote and directed and co-stars in that film as well.
It's been fun watching their interviews too, and then when you watch the movie, like. It seems like they were kind of portraying aspects of themselves in the movie, and like they're pretty fun. Their chemistry with each other, but they're also so different.
Cathy, what about you?
I'm agreeing. I think Kieran Culkin will win, and I think he should.
Okay, I like it.
Again, he plays someone who's manic, and. So you have the highs and the lows, somebody that everybody loves, and he's very open, but then you turn around and Jesse's having to apologize for him. His cousin's apologizing for him.
Interesting.
So I think it's a real look at people who have that they live with and deal with.
Okay. I'll say for me, for Best Supporting Actor, since I haven't seen A Real Pain, I think Kieran Culkin will win because he's been racking up the awards for Supporting Actor, and sounds like rightfully so. But I'll swerve a little bit, and I'll say Guy Pearce should win for The Brutalist. I thought he was pretty, at times, monstrous. and some of the things that happen in the movie, but also you're sort of on his side at parts in the beginning, and it's just and I do like Guy Pearce. He's one of those dudes that kind of was around in the 90s, late 90s, and then for whatever reason he didn't wind up in more movies or didn't have more leading parts, but every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, why isn't he in more? I like Guy Pearce quite a bit. It's real good. Harvey, what about you?
All right, so I'll agree with everybody that I think Kieran Culkin will likely win. I started watching that movie and then stopped only because I think something else came up, and but I could get from the vibe that I think it was going to be really good, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. But I'm gonna swerve a little bit, and I'm gonna say Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown.
Yeah, he's good. He's great.
He plays Pete Seeger, and in a lot of ways, I think he's kind of like the emotional, through line in that, and you're kind of experiencing it through him in a lot of ways, that shift for Dylan, and and I thought,
it's true,
I like that read,
and he's just fantastic in everything. Do you know what I mean?
He really
Edward
is.
Norton, and so I doubt that he will win, but that's my pick.
Yeah, that I was kind of leaning that way as well. That he. As you said, Pete Seeger, right? Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Edward Norton movies is Primal Fear.
Oh,
yeah, one of his first, I think. One of his first roles.
Yes, and really the end of that just.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
30 years
there might
later.
be some in this. 30 years later.
If you haven't seen it.
But unfortunately for him, it seems like we all believe Kieran Culkin will pick up the Oscar.
Now, is it a hot take that maybe he should have been in the Best Actor category for
I think so.
Kieran Culkin?
Yeah.
I think so.
It might be, sometimes they talk about a little bit of category fraud or shenanigans that go on with some of the studios.
I think absolutely should
because
be in leading
Zoe
actor.
Saldana, she was up for Best Actress as at the Golden Globes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, you're right. I mean, they fit into categories that they feel like they have a better chance of winning. So that's a good point.
Maybe she was supporting actress because the lady from I'm Still Here won. My bad.
Oh, Fernanda Torres.
Yeah.
Which we'll bring her up here shortly. But before we get to more categories, I think we should take some snacks.
Oh,
I'm getting
goodness,
thirsty. I'm getting hungry all of a sudden.
Show is called SnakChat.
So we're going to start with the snack part of our chat here. We're going to start with, this is plain popcorn with the Cinnabon popcorn seasoning from Orville Redenbacher and Cinnabon.
It smells good.
Nice combo here. We're going to try that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say I appreciate that these are not mystery flavors today. So thank you that I know what I'm about to eat.
Yeah.
No mystery today,
No mystery
thankfully.
flavors.
That's quite good. It's just plain popcorn and the seasoning. Excellent.
I love sweet and savory.
I have two children that would eat
that is
popcorn
quite
for
good.
breakfast, and so and we always that's outright no.
Yeah.
But maybe with a little cinnamon flavor, you could
like
pull it
it.
off.
Oh, it's breakfast now.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do like that. I might have to snag that on the way out.
Honestly, if you guys want some more, I'll pass that around if you want a
Okay.
little bit more seasoning.
Well,
on it.
what I would do is I do a little more of this, and I'd put a little salt on it, so you kind of get the.
Yeah. And I'll
That's
say
good.
this too. Feel free to snack along while we're watching,
Well, I'm going to.
while we're chatting.
Well,
'Cause
I'm
we
I
got
haven't
this
eaten
one,
today, so
and then we'll move on. We've got more. We've got 5 different snacks, 5 different popcorns, so folks know. So we got more to go.
Can I also say my experience of watching a film at the Grand? It was great seeing Bill Cole and Jeremy there. Great folks. But loved like a nice little small thing of popcorn for $3, and I was like, that's what I need. I don't need a freaking bathtub of popcorn, and then you feel like you have to get because it's only 50 cents more than the small one at the big
and
one.
it's like $12 for the small. Or something.
I agree. I've always appreciated their concession for that very reason.
Right.
It's like a simple
That's all I
bag.
need. That's
It's
all I
not
need. Just that much.
$15.
Right.
Yeah.
Shout out the Grand, great place to see.
Yeah.
a movie,
100%.
Honestly, really
And that
good
they
place to
have
see a
these
movie.
movies that they play there. Yes.
Shout out to Bill
I
Cole.
hope they continue to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not that they would turn into an art house film place, but I mean, I'm here for it.
Yeah, but
if
I
they
like
want
that.
to.
Nice combination.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all give a thumbs up on this.
Yes.
Yeah, thumbs up.
up.
That's excellent. Okay, next category.
Okay.
I decided to add this one in as a major category for us to talk about.
I was like, wow,
Best
somebody
animated,
must have some takes on
Because
this.
you three all have children at home. I do not, but I'm a kid at heart. And I love animated films. I usually end up watching a lot of the ones that are nominated. The ones that we've got this year are Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Let's start off. Cathy, did you start off the last time? Or
No, Suzy did.
Suzy did. Cathy, get us
I will say I've seen all of these, and I really liked them all.
Good. That's
I
good.
couldn't believe it, but I really liked them all. I think The Wild Robot will win. I'd like to see Flow win. But I think Inside Out 2 was my personal favorite because I related so much. It was about a 13-year-old and emotions and anxiety and all that. I'm like, yep.
I've got one of those.
But Flow, I think should win because it was, first of all, just the animation was like crazy. And then, I don't know if this is a spoiler. There's no dialogue.
Right. No, it's not a spoiler. No, I wouldn't say. No.
There's no dialogue.
No actual dialogue in the film. Just excellent sound effects, great score as well, and animation and characters.
And it's
going through that.
It's all animals. And just even when they're like doing their thing, they're still just like the animals that they are. Yeah. Like, the cat at one point is like knocks a thing off, and it's just like that's what cats do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can tell the filmmakers, the animators there, they have animals at home. They have a cat at home probably. And they got all the mannerisms just right. I think I'm in agreement with you. I think The Wild Robot will win, but my personal pick would be Flow. And it's a Latvian film as well, so it's a relatively small studio compared to the DreamWorks and
Pixar
and the Pixar Disneys of the world. So I'm pulling for them. Harvey, what about you?
I have not seen all of these, but I want to. But I'll predict. I'll go with you guys on Wild Robot, and I'll also shout out Inside Out 2 is my favorite. Again, children at that age, and I did. I really like the first Inside Out. Is one of my favorite Pixar films, and just the way they nail those feelings. Those emotions. They really got them down. And so I enjoyed that.
And I will say, of these animated films, a lot of people think they are for kids. But Memoir of a Snail is not for children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. That's a good tip. If you come away from this with anything.
It was good. I really liked it. But it's a story for adults.
Okay.
Is that one streaming anywhere, or did you see it in a?
I paid $5 for it on Prime.
Okay, cool. That's good to know for folks.
Yeah.
A lot of those you can. And like Inside Out 2, Wild Robot, I think are both streaming, and Wallace and Gromit. So. Suzy, what about you?
So Collie, I feel I'm so unprepared. I didn't watch all of them, but I loved The Wild Robot, and I loved Inside Out too. When I watched The Wild Robot, as a parent, I cried numerous times throughout the movie. It was so sweet. It was so powerful. And I want to say it was my son's favorite. And it's a book series. And we're actually reading the book right now.
Oh, cool.
But I personally liked Inside Out too. I loved the first one. I really liked the second one. It's such a wonderful depiction of just our emotions and mental health. And for the messaging behind it, I think
that
it's
it's okay to have those feelings.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
okay to have
we
those
all have
feelings.
anxiety.
Exactly. The Inside Out too. What you said this a second ago. The depiction of anxiety. I have never seen such a real depiction of anxiety and an anxiety attack. I was like, oh my God, this is powerful.
Like, oh, I feel that.
I feel exactly that way. Yes.
That's what that is.
Special love for The Wild Robot as well. I know you guys talked about it. And it's a great depiction of motherhood. I feel, and I think that needs to need to see that more in film and in animated film as well. Me and my wife sat in the theater I don't think either of us cried, but we spent the entire runtime on the verge. Have you ever had that feeling like you're just like, oh no, I'm going to, and then it never quite got there, but man, it was so close. But what a great movie. Okay, I think we're gonna do another snack.
Okay.
As we get going to our more
it.
categories. Next, we've got Werther's Original Caramel Popcorn.
I am most excited
it looks
about
exactly like you would think. There, a little caramel corn. So
I like the puffs.
Old man candy.
Yeah.
Ooh. Nice, creamy.
See, the problem is I could eat my weight
Yeah.
in caramel popcorn. So
That is good.
that's quite
It's
good.
caramel. It's popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, it's not too low.
I
And-
love caramel
What is that?
popcorn, and this goes next level with the Werther's
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah. And I like that they're all pretty much the same puffs. There's no like little straggler pieces or, you know.
I mean, it tastes like real caramel. Like, it's
Yeah, it tastes just like the
buttery caramel.
You guys usually get the tins of popcorn like around the holidays.
Yeah.
Where you've got like caramel corn, usually like a cheddar, and maybe a normal one. Yeah, usually for me,
Caramel's
the
like
caramel
straight
one
down
is
the
all the
bottom.
way down to the bottom
Oh,
before
yeah.
I get close to finishing
For
the
sure.
other two. All right,
Thumbs up. Thumbs up on that.
Thumbs
Okay.
up on that, right?
Yeah. Oh
As
my
we're
gosh.
as we're snacking,
We're lucking out, man.
yeah. As we're snacking through, we can
Big
keep
hungry
on.
over here.
Me too.
We keep on with our categories. Back to the acting. We'll do Best Actress. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez. Mikey Madison for Honora. Demi Moore in The Substance. And Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. I'll get us kicked
Yes.
off on this one. I think this one really feels like, to your point about the Golden Globes being an excellent precursor, I think maybe it always hasn't been, but it's starting to become one. And I think this is a case study for that because Demi Moore won
Right.
there and had an excellent acceptance speech. And I think it really just reminded everybody, A, how great she is and has been for a while, but
Yeah.
that she hasn't had it yet, and that like
Yeah.
okay, it felt like an anointment. Like now's the time.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you the flowers.
When you
now.
often get like sort of lifetime achievement Oscars, right?
It happens
You
a
know
lot.
what I mean?
Yeah, and it's something we haven't really talked about yet here, but we know it happens and pretty much across the board. Every category, you've got folks that throughout
It's supposed to
history.
be for this one performance, but you bring all the
Right.
other things
Yeah.
along.
Like, you
But
can
you
look
take
back-
everything else
Yeah.
into consideration.
Yeah.
The body of work.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look back at Denzel, did not win for Malcolm X, but
Yeah.
did for Training Day because that was kind of a
Yeah.
we probably should give you one.
Right.
It's been too long
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Just
And
like
so
we had
maybe,
Leonardo,
and I
same
feel
way.
I kind
I
of feel
was
like
going to
this.
say Scorsese
Yeah,
was
right.
another, and
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Leonardo.
arguably, a lot of these
yeah.
folks don't win for their best performances, but maybe it comes
And
around
then,
later.
yeah.
So I'm giving Demi Moore this one. I thought she was great. It was a really daring performance in The Substance. She's really putting herself out there, mind, body, and soul, really, in The Substance. But I think my favorite performance might be Honora. Mikey Madison. She was in. She hasn't really been in a ton of movies. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, as was like every known actor now. Like, there was that cast was stacked back in 2019. But this is just her kind of star making and breakthrough performance, and so got to give her some credit for that one. But really can't go wrong with Demi Moore either.
Yeah.
I thought she was great. Harvey, about you?
This is the beginning of the Honora anointment for me. I'm going to say that she will win and that she should win.
Okay.
I get the Demi Moore, and I think there's probably a decent chance that she wins, but I think Mikey Madison's performance is the best. And I do think there's some Honora momentum at this point, and maybe she is the beneficiary of some of that.
Yeah.
Just so awesome in that film. I mean,
Again, everything on the line
Yeah.
in that movie, and really, yeah.
and again, you sort of feel the whole thing through her experience, and so some great performances in here. But I'm going to go with Mikey Madison.
Yeah, I like that. Suzy?
Yes. So I too am going with Mikey Madison. I loved Honora, and I thought her performance was pretty great.
Yeah.
It was so funny and dark all at once. I really enjoyed it and authentic. I feel
Yeah.
like.
I'm sorry. I'm going to let you, but what I love so much is how she would flip back and forth from like the Russian to the Brooklyn. Do you know what I mean? It's just like she's almost two characters in one, but it's
That's true. Yeah.
So, anyway,
Yes.
sorry.
No, I agree. Cynthia Erivo. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was my second. I get the Demi Moore thing. Like you said, if you're judging the body of work, okay, I can understand that. But if I'm just looking at the movies in front of me, definitely Nora.
And you didn't love The Substance, right? You were saying before we went live, you just watched it. Like,
I watched it last night. I've got opinions. We'll get into that.
Okay, we can hold off. We can get to that. Okay. Cathy, what about you?
I say that Demi Moore will win. My pick is going to be Fernando Torres. I saw I'm Still Here.
I'm glad you did. That's one that I've been trying to see. It's the only
film.
one. Yeah, okay.
And she had a great performance. And then I found out this morning that I saw her on a talk show, and she is the second actor in a foreign film that has been nominated for an Oscar, and the other one was her mother.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah, I do remember reading that. That's incredible.
That's cool. And same director that directed her in this movie directed her mother.
Oh, wow.
In that movie.
Full circle.
I know. So I'm like, But the movie was great. Again, I thought she had a really good, intense performance, and that's what I like to see. So I'm picking her. Honorable mention to Cynthia Erivo because she was awesome.
She was.
I'm glad to hear that because I'm still here. That's the only Best Picture nominee that I didn't get to see. But it's starting to make its way into some theaters in Kentucky and some in Louisville, I think.
Yeah, I saw it in Louisville.
And so I'm excited to check that out. But I'm glad you were able to see it.
Yeah.
And it's a Brazilian film, if I remember right. And I think it surprised a lot of people.
And based on a true story.
Yeah,
and based on a book that the main character of the story, her son, wrote.
Oh, incredible.
Wow, yeah. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Wow, there's so much to that.
I'm telling you.
Research.
Okay, on the acting side, we've got Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. We've got Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. Ray Fiennes for Conclave. And Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. Harvey, why don't you get us started
on this? Okay, so this is my Lifetime Achievement Award here. It goes to Ray Fiennes for Conclave.
All right.
I like this movie a lot, and his performance I thought was fantastic. I thought the visuals of that movie were really amazing too. But I do think this is you bring along all of the stuff with Ray Fiennes in this performance. But my personal pick's going to be Timothy Chalamet because I love Complete Unknown so much. And I mean, really, you look at this list of like nominees. I mean, Coleman Domingo is. I have not seen Sing Sing, but I saw him last year in Color Purple and
Rustin.
Rustin.
Yeah, awesome in both of those.
Right.
And obviously Adrian Brody is fantastic too. Right. So I don't think you can really go wrong with any of these, but my prediction is Fiennes, and my personal choice is Chalamet.
Yeah.
Suzy, what about you?
Yeah, so I think Ralph Fiennes is kind of like the Meryl Streep of actors. Like, he's a hard one to go up against. I love Ralph Fiennes. I love Conclave as well. That was like in my top 3. Oh, yeah. And without seeing it, I'm gonna say A Complete Unknown. I'm gonna say Timothy Chalamet just because. Okay, Penn Jillette. Do you know Penn Jillette? He is a huge Bob Dylan fan. Takes it to another level. And his takes on it was that he did a fantastic job, and a lot of Bob Dylan, fans have watched it and enjoyed it, and so. That just tells me he really got into the character, but also he performed it all live. There was no pre-tracks, literally, as they were filming. Timothy Chalamet was singing the songs, and I think there's a lot to that.
In post.
Yes. So even just knowing that, the performance of the music, and then I'm sure what his performance is. Yeah. I know it's so hard. I shouldn't say that without seeing it, but I feel confident. But I'm with you. Ralph Fiennes was pretty good.
I mean, Chalamet's Dylan voice was just. I mean, the mumble kind of. Yeah. I mean, golly.
Again. Wishing that I had the subtitles.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was hard. It was hard, but it was kind of part. That's kind of the thing,
But it's tough. It's a tough balancing act to not be like a caricature, or an impression of Bob Dylan that's usually like really outlandish. It's kind of, you can tell he's Bob, but he's like reined in a little bit. Cathy, where'd you land on this one?
Well, I'll tell you, this was a tough category because I've seen all of these and they were all really good. I have predicted that Adrien Brody will win just because he's Adrien Brody. You know, and he's just good in everything he does.
He is.
I would like to see Timothée Chalamet win, of course. But again, Ralph Fiennes, so good. Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice, he won the Golden Globe for that performance. And was really good. And Coleman Domingo, again, that movie... was so good, and what's interesting about that movie, and didn't get nominated for Best Picture, is that the guy who wrote that and wrote the play that it's about stars as himself in the play, and all of the actors from the prison, Sing Sing, were in that at Sing Sing in that drama program that they had, and they got to be in the movie.
Wow!
And I just think that
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so good.
I think. As well, and so tell me this. With Sebastian Stan, real quick. He was in 2 movies last year, The Apprentice and A Different Man. And I didn't get to see either of those, but a lot of people seem to think that maybe he got the Oscar almost as a combined, because those movies came out pretty close together.
They did.
And I think it was sort of a combined body of work. And I was really wanting to see Sing Sing. I was kind of... That's been sort of a talking point, I think, in a lot of circles about A24's release strategy with Sing Sing. It came out like March of last year or something in festivals, and then it just kind of never really got the wide release that people kind of were seeming to think it would. And then a lot of people, I kind of agree with this as well, that A24 put a lot of their awards power and marketing behind The Brutalist. Because they felt like that had the better chance to win. But I do feel like Sing Sing maybe. I haven't had a chance to see it. I really wanted to, though. We saw that trailer the first time, whatever it was, maybe 10 months ago, and I was just blown away.
It was really.
I still can't wait to see it.
The whole timing thing is tricky because like you don't want it to go too early, but then sometimes when it gets too late, and then there's all this other there's all these everybody else is going at the same time.
That's a really good point.
So I think my take would be I think Adrien Brody will win, but. My heart says Timothy, though. Like, I just thought he was fantastic. And again, shout out for Dune Part 2 as well. He stars in that, carries that franchise. But as Bob Dylan, he's just incredible. So before we move on from actor, does the AI performance thing weigh in your all's hearts or heads? Have you heard much about this?
I only heard about it later.
With regards to The Brutalist? Is that what? Okay.
So there's light controversy. I think it's kind of over with now because other movies have taken the spotlight as far as controversy is concerned.
So was it about their accents?
Not even the whole movie. I think it's when they speak in my impression was that it's when they speak in Hungarian in The Brutalist. They may have used a little bit of re-speecher with the editor, because I think the editor of the film is actually like native from Hungarian or second generation, and so they kind of messed with the accent when they speak in Hungarian, but I think the rest of the movie is their performance. But there was just a brief period where there was a lot of conversation where people were not happy about that, and then they used some AI later on in the film. There's like a brief segment in the epilogue that uses some. But I think
like one of the
people were rightfully really cagey and upset about AI in general and kind of scared about it. And but to me at this point, AI has been used in movies for a long time.
If it's enhancing your experience and the quality of the movie.
It didn't do anything for the originality of it, like the creativity
it doesn't mess
of
with
it. It just was helping. I didn't see The Brutalist. I'm sure it's amazing. The Brutalist for me is like in the same category as the Oppenheimer. I didn't see that last year, and I was like, but it's great, but it's 3.5 hours long.
It is.
And
I saw
that's
it in the
a
theater.
commitment.
Did y'all see it in the theater?
We saw it in the theater. Yeah, we saw it in the theater at the Kentucky. It's got the intermission in it, which is nice.
Crazy.
I can't imagine though how hard it would be to fire that up at home.
Oh no!
When you've got that end date. The time at the end of it waiting for you. It's a lot easier to sit in a theater, I feel like. But.
And some of these aren't out for streaming yet. Like you have to go to the theater.
Right. All right, I think it's time for another snack break.
Ooh,
Okay.
All right.
We got, let's see, I think our first real interesting one
good.
here.
I'm gonna pour that in.
Netflix
This one?
late night ramen popcorn.
Ooh, I love a ramen too. I
Kinda
love
got
a good
It's
ramen.
kind of got a nice, like, sort of traditional, I would say traditional popcorn look,
Okay.
but
It does.
it's got some seasoning on
looks
it.
buttery.
You can tell, you can tell it's kind of doing something a
good?
little
Oh yeah,
interesting
I
here.
love a good ramen. Like this
Yeah.
this might be my.
Oh yeah,
It actually tastes like ramen.
It really does.
it does.
And I mean, it's just the season. It's the
I think,
seasoning.
I think it's the sodium.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I need to start doing. It's just like buying
Yeah,
ramen
buying
for the
ramen,
seasoning
right.
pack.
Just putting it on the popcorn.
That's good.
That is good.
It is good.
I do like it.
It's a good.
It's not better
again,
than the Werther's, but
It's a good
pretty
salty.
Not your favorite so far? No.
Werther's is number one, but this is good.
Okay. It's
It
funny
tastes
though,
like
because it's
a-
like you could do a little sweet
Tastes
and
like a
savory,
chicken
like
soup
back and forth.
ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
No,
Yeah.
I'm down with this.
All right. While we're snacking, something I brought up to you fine folks beforehand, before we went live here to prepare for, just, we're not going to get through every category because, frankly, we got to move on with our lives.
Yeah.
we got to do other
And so
stuff.
do the viewers too.
There's a lot of categories, and unfortunately, we can't get them all.
That's good.
But we were going to give our kind of extra categories, a thing that we had a take on, an opinion on, that we wanted to share, that we wouldn't get through the full category or expect everybody else to have seen them. I'll start us off just to get the conversation going. My extra one is best score.
Okay.
I was baffled at these nominees, to be quite honest.
Oh
with you.
wow. Okay. Hot
okay.
take.
Hot take coming.
Yeah, it's a hot take. Steaming hot take for this one. So we got The Brutalist, Conclave. Both of those are fine.
Yeah.
Amelia Perez, okay, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. So my thing that's interesting, I'm annoyed and upset that a certain movie didn't get nominated. But I wonder too, viewers and possibly Academy voters may be slightly confused on what makes up an original score, because as we've seen with two musicals being involved, you're not nominating
song
the music
or
and
the
the
soundtrack.
songs. You're not nominating the songs of
Right.
the movie.
Right.
It's the music in between those songs.
And that's behind the.
Yeah, and I will
Dialogue
give
and-
Wicked credit for that actually,
Yeah.
because they do
Yeah.
they're able to steal little sonnet, little things, passages, bars from other songs in Wicked, but they're able to grab stuff from The Wizard of Oz as well and blend it all together. And so I think that makes a nice score. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
The Amelia Perez one is just silly.
Yeah.
It's just straight up silly. Everything about that movie is silly to me. But
This nomination.
its nomination in
specifically.
this category is like
So
annoying
that's not going to be
me.
his best pick.
I don't
It
think
will
so.
not. The one
That's
I'm
why
annoyed,
he picked this category, though.
the
He
one
wanted
that
to
I
have
am annoyed with that did not get nominated was Challengers from Trent
yeah.
Reznor and Atticus Ross, who have won Academy Awards in the past, and of course, two guys famously behind Nine Inch Nails. Every piece of score work that they do is just fantastic.
Yeah.
But this one as well, in this movie, I'm more annoyed at the Academy Awards that this movie is just not present.
Yeah.
I
Same.
At
agree.
all. And it was one of my
100%.
favorites.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So I was annoyed at that I thought maybe Challengers will get in with this category, and then they just left it out entirely. But I think my pick out of the ones that are nominated would be The Brutalist. I thought that score was pretty great.
It was, yeah.
Added a lot of value to the movie, but I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on score, or is that just me?
No, I agree. No, I agree though, and I think it's not fair that sometimes you might get a film in that didn't actually do all that much on the score. That just had songs.
Yeah, I mean, my take two is a musical should have good music.
Yeah.
And I didn't think Amelia Perez did. Wicked does for sure. I don't know. Who is anybody else? Suzy, do you have like a special category that maybe we weren't going to talk about today? You wanted to shout out?
We're covering the main ones
Yeah,
for me.
we are.
I do like the original screenplay. I think that's a good one. And if it was me, I would. A Real Pain is what I would put for original screenplay. I mean, that's what Good Will Hunting. I don't know if you remember,
I
like,
find like
you know,
original
David and
screenplay is
Ben
always
Affleck.
like some of my favorite movies because they're not
Yeah.
like big enough to be Best Picture, but they were the ones that were really
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah, original screenplay is kind of like the cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I don't remember. Was The Leftovers? Was that last year or Leftovers?
Holdovers?
Oh, Holdover.
Yeah, it was last year.
That
and
was last
and
year.
It won,
Okay,
and it won
okay.
Best Original
That's
Screenplay,
right.
right?
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah. Nice pick.
Yeah,
I like that.
Cathy, what about you? Any kind of extra category?
I love the documentaries.
Yeah,
and it's not anything I would see until the nominations come out, and you're like, oh, let's check out what they are. So I haven't seen all of these. Black Box Diaries was really good. It's a documentary, true story about a Japanese journalist who was sexually assaulted by somebody big up in broadcasting, who's friends with someone big in the government. and so it was swept under the rug, and it's her story of how she tried to get justice, really. And so she wrote a book called The Black Box, and then from all of the coverage she did of that, then made this documentary, and I think it's great. And then I also saw Sugarland, which is about the reform schools. What are they called, Harvey? The residential schools for Native Americans that the Catholics
in Canada, right?
In Canada, yeah. But they also had them here in the United States. But this is in Canada, and just again, I gravitate towards movies that are based on a true story. So the documentaries just really get me.
Oh yeah.
So I like that they get the that they get a category and that they're recognized. So
I picked editing.
Yeah.
Partially because it's like, near and dear to my heart, but also it was one of the categories where I had seen almost all of the films. The one I had not seen is The Brutalist, but I'm not considering that because
it was 3.5 hours.
It was almost 4 hours, and I don't think you can reward somebody for editing a film.
Right. When it's 3.5 hours.
It's almost 4 hours. Okay, so they're thrown out. But of the others that I had seen all of them, I think Conclave was really well edited.
Yeah.
I will shout out to Honora because I think that one was really well done too. But I think Conclave is going to be my pick, and I think likely I'm hoping we'll win. It's not a first-time guy, but he's never won or been nominated before. Nick Emerson. So,
that's a really good point, because editing really is the pacing of the movie.
Yeah.
And when the pacing is off, it's really off. And you're right. Of those films, Conclave, the pacing of that was really well done.
Especially because there's not much. The action is not. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of dialogue
and a lot of people walking slowly through places. And big spaces, but to be able to cut that to make it feel like it was things
like
are
propulsive,
happening.
and it literally is guys talking in rooms. For 2 hours, and it really, in my mind, Conclave played out like an airport novel, something you would read on a flight.
So that's the note that I have about Conclave. I did a little note about each of the Best Picture nominations, and my note about Conclave was that it was good characters and story development, because there were all the different characters.
It was almost like a whodunit, you know what I mean? Because you're just sort of like, is this guy? Is he good or is he bad?
The politics of it. It just felt very focused. And that, to me, is what I feel like Amelia Perez did not have, was focus. It felt very muddled and too much going on. It was too chaotic, but that was a very clean focus.
Sort of like a political thriller almost.
Okay, let's take another snack, and then we'll get another category. We're getting towards the end here. We're going to do the Hershey's Cookies and Cream Popcorn. I've been very excited about
I'm looking at the chocolate chips.
I want to get one with the chips on
the
it.
sweet and savory.
So before I eat, I will say, these have the little bitty chocolate pieces on them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's actually crunchier than I thought it would be.
It is.
Can I just shout out is this all Brett, or was it a team effort? I mean,
it's all Brett.
Just
all Brett.
Thanks,
shout out,
chef's
shout out
kiss
Brett.
to Brett on the layout today.
Oh yeah,
yes,
1000%. What do you guys think?
There's a good sweet, like
sweet,
the glazy stuff is good,
salty.
and then with the little bits of chocolate, it's a little surprise.
This might be my favorite.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan. I would buy it.
I think this is my favorite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, while we're munching here, we're trying to move us along. Best director.
I think I like this.
We've got Honora, Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, which I think was pretty surprising for a lot of folks, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Farge for The Substance. Who went first? Suzy, do you want to start us off with Best Director?
Sure.
I know you just watched the Substance, and you weren't crazy about that one.
Do you want me to give you my take on, or are we going to do that for
we can wait.
movie?
We can wait.
Okay.
Well, I think the Best Picture is a good time to give all your hot takes about the film.
My two would be Sean Baker with Anora.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I said my two. Wait, is Conclave in that category?
No.
It's not. Okay, I didn't. Okay.
Which I think was surprising.
Anora, and then A Complete Unknown.
Okay. Yeah. Which one do you think will win? Anora?
I feel like The Brutalist is gonna win.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't see it, and I can't give too much about it. I feel like that's gonna be a favorite. But I thought Anora. I really liked Anora. I mean, it was like the most realistic tell a pretty woman.
Well, that's my note for that one.
And it was the pacing was good. The acting was amazing. It flowed really well. It was hilarious, but it was also dark. Like it just had everything that I look for in a movie.
Another movie not for children.
Absolutely not for children. And
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The ending I thought was even good. Like the way it was left open for interpretation.
Epic kind of gut punch of an end.
It brought you back to how what would be realistic in that situation. You know, like this isn't a fairy tale.
Right.
Movie. Yeah.
My little synopsis of Anora was a dark take on Pretty Woman gone wrong.
So what was your take on director, though?
Oh, I think Brady Corbett will win. The Brutalist. And again, I would love to see James Mangold win for A Complete Unknown. Only because, again, you're working with actors who aren't necessarily musicians.
Yeah.
And getting those performances out of them, amazing.
Agreed. Yeah.
The other thing that he's not in my list, but one thing that I thought was awesome. I watched some video, like a thing on YouTube about, and how that when he shot the actors performing, it wasn't like from the audience first row hero shot. It was like up on the stage, like in their face, because they were, especially when they were singing together, how close they were, and the camera was just like right there too.
It's like you're on stage with them.
Those decisions I think were really really
I think that's what I liked about that as well. I'm not usually a biopic guy, but it makes enough choices that I like it when a biopic makes some swings and makes some creative decisions like that. I think I'm gonna go for director Sean Baker, Anora, for I think should and will. I think it felt like it was brutalist all the way for this one, but we talked about the Critics' Choice, but we talked about Producers Guild and Directors Guild. And Sean Baker, Nora won Producers Guild, and then Sean Baker won Directors, and so that's usually a really good predictor and precursor. Because
those are people that are voting.
Those are the folks that are also voting in that category, among everyone else when it gets to the final nominations. But Harvey, what about you?
I'm with you on Sean Baker, on will and should win. I think I have I'm glad to hear that you recently watched The Substance, so you don't have recency bias on that. The last one I saw was Anora, and so I'm worried that I have some recency bias on that one because I think the same thing happened last year with Anatomy of a Fall was like the last one I watched, and I was like, I love that movie so much. But Nora, and I saw Complete Unknown, and I was like, oh, this is the one. And then I saw Nora, I was like, this is the one. But anyway, I think he did such a great job directing that film. I mean, of all of the ones, it's like his, just you can see his DNA and his thumbprint on it. And it's awesome.
And it says a lot, too, when you want to go, for me at least, I want to go back and watch some of his previous films. This is the first Sean Baker movie I've seen, and he's kind of been around. He's got at least 3 or 4 other movies under his belt that people love. So, all right. We're down to the nitty gritty here. Final snack to get us going before we do our best picture conversation here.
Am I going to change my opinion about the
to Brett? Maybe I don't know. But we got to do some flaming hot Cheetos popcorn here for you. To really, we got to steam it up here to get the hot takes rolling for our best picture.
It does look like Cheetos.
Woo.
Yep. It's got the red, so it lets you know that it's not playing around.
It's not.
And feel free to have the other popcorn to kind of help.
Go back to
it's pretty hot.
I don't even think I can do a second
over here.
I don't even eat.
Hot.
I've never had a flaming hot Cheeto. I love OG Cheetos. I'm there for. But I've never had a Flamin' Hot, so I'm not sure how. I'm assuming this is pretty true, and I need to drink something.
For some reason, I have a whole lot more of this in my bowl than I have the other good stuff. What's with that?
What's happening with that?
Yeah.
It reminds me of Takis. I don't know if you like that.
I love Takis. I have
Son
never
is
even tried
obsessed
one.
with Takis.
And with the, I'll warn you about the Flamin' Hot. They build in power as you start if you eat more of them. That's something I've noticed. But I liked that quite a bit. It wasn't quite as bad.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
When you're eating popcorn, you're like all hands in, and when you're getting all that stuff on your hands, you might forget and rub your eyes and so.
Yeah, you don't
all right,
want to.
that's not bad.
All right,
I
we've
would
arrived.
give it a thumbs up if you like hot stuff.
Yeah,
I like that.
Okay.
All right,
I'm going back to my ramen.
Yeah, I'm going back to my Hershey. I feel like this whole time I've been like Chris Farley, like, lay off me, I'm starving.
You mentioned you haven't had breakfast or lunch.
I'm just like,
it's all
almost out
served
of all
right
my
now.
popcorn.
Okay, final category, best picture.
Okay.
The big
got
one.
Honora.
Can we make a prediction? I'm sorry. Can we make a prediction on what time the Academy Awards is going to end this year?
1 o'clock.
It starts
I'm staying awake. I promise.
It starts at 7 p.m. on ABC. We'll throw that out there for everybody on March 2nd. It might be like 10:30 or 11.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if it ends before 10:30 that night.
Do they move it up, right? Because did it used to start at 8? Because I feel like it always used to go to almost midnight.
Yes, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess they moved it up. Now we'll try to get done by the late evening news.
Okay, so best picture. We got Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked.
Okay.
Who do we want to start? Kathy, why don't you get us started?
I will start.
She's the pro. She's
seen them all.
everything.
She's seen them all, and she's got notes on each one. I love it.
Well, I think Honora will win.
Okay.
And like I said, my take on that was it's a dark take on Pretty Woman Gone Wrong.
Have you always kind of felt like Honora was going to win since you saw it? Or do you feel like the recent
the good weekend that they had makes it seem like
I'm right there.
Okay.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, because I
this past
thought
weekend
I was Brutalist.
Me too.
But my note on Brutalist is too long and dark.
It's definitely not one that you get out and you feel like great.
Yeah.
You don't feel awesome about
it's
afterwards. Yeah.
Amelia Perez, I said, why a musical and dark?
I had that same thought too.
Complete Unknown is the one that I would like to see win because of the excellent performances. And I, like I've already said about Conclave. Nickel Boys, I thought it was a missed opportunity. There's a great message in there and story to tell. It was just for someone going to the movie that maybe would, need to hear the message, or it was too weird. And but
didn't love the because for folks at home, if they're interested, it's the POV kind of perspective,
right?
I think we maybe mentioned earlier, but
you're the random horse in the hall, and black and white every now and then. I mean, I think it's just a little too for.
Some choices, some creative choices.
I agree. I think sometimes when you get like too far into it, I'm going to be creative for the sake of being creative. Like I want to make this weird to be weird. You lose the audience.
But again, only because of the subject of the movie. It could have been really interesting for people to learn more about the places like the Nickel Academy and stuff like that. So anyway, that's that. I'm Still Here, I thought was very inspiring. That was the Brazilian one. The Substance was too weird and dark. Dune Part 2, I think I loved it, but I think it has a limited audience appeal. Because some people, well, do I need to have seen Dune Part 1? Or
you
if
absolutely
that's just,
should have seen Part 1.
Yeah,
because it's really Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah. So if it's just not their thing, I can't see how it could be the winner.
Sure.
I don't know.
I think that, and then that one's a little. It was released. People forget. I mean, it's been 10 months or so. And so they've been out for a while.
Right.
And also, I mean, the Oscars, they do not love to award Part 2s of a trilogy. Like if they know that there's a third one that's in the horizon,
we'll get that one. We'll get it when it comes around.
That's kind of what they do. The Return of the King kind of method is what they like to do.
But then again, Wicked, and I think Wicked's a classic. I would love to see Wicked win, but I don't think it's going to.
But it's not going to because it's the part 1 of it all.
Right.
There's part 2 is coming out 2025 this year later on. So maybe
I
it'll
loved
get
everything about it, and again, it's just a classic. So.
But and again, my argument against the part 1, part 2 thing is like, what if part 2 isn't as good?
Yeah.
What if people don't like it?
Right.
You know, Wicked, and so you just wasted an opportunity to award that movie. And the same thing with Dune Part 2. Like, what if the next one, Dune Messiah, doesn't come till 6 years from now? Like, you really gonna? I don't know. I appreciate everything you said. I think Nickel Boys was way high up for me. I loved the choices that they made and the POV perspective. It gets you thinking, but I think it makes sense with the story. And then if you kind of look back at it as maybe like memories and how memories can sometimes not be true to life the way it actually happened. But I am curious. It almost would be interesting to see a side by side. Like, here's a more standard version of this story, and then here's the one we got, and then see how that would weigh. But I loved the choices in that one. I think my picks, though, my personal favorite, Dune Part 2, it's probably my favorite movie of the year, right next to a tie with Challengers, which wasn't nominated. And I knew it wasn't going to be, but I think Anora will win, in large part to what you had said, Cathy. I think I was leaning Brutalist, but for a while it was the Brutalist Emilia Perez conversation. And I did not understand it at all. And so, and then it felt like, okay, I think Brutalist is going to happen. But then after this weekend, some of the precursors, it really feels like, okay, we've swung back to Anora, and I'm pretty good with that. I think I'm cool with it. Harvey, what about you?
Well, I'm going to say will win and should win is Anora. Again, recency bias aside, that movie I felt was like a thrill ride. Do you know what I mean? Like from the beginning, because there was like 3 different acts that were all very different. The second act, I was just like, I was like smiling on my face the whole time. I just couldn't believe what was happening. Do you know what I mean? And those guys were they're so amazingly awful. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, I can't believe what they're doing. But anyway, I really love, and I thought it was they nailed the ending. I just thought it was so perfect. And so yeah, I mean, it's not, I think it was the best film, and I think it deserves to be.
And that one guy was nominated. Supporting actor. We didn't talk about them.
No, but I thought the other guy, like the other henchmen, were so funny. I mean, they were just like so ridiculous. But anyway, I like that a lot. I love Conclave. I love Complete Unknown. Sort of classic, movie making. You know what I mean? And that was one where I think it was 2.5 hours. I didn't look at my watch. I don't think once in that film. And maybe that's just because I love Bob Dylan. But I was just like, I just wanted to watch. I would, I'm ready to go watch it again. Like, just
definitely.
Just
I was
mainline
like, okay.
it into my veins. Someone Complete Unknown. And I will say Emilia Perez and I'm sure we've heard some opinions. I don't know. I think the music was not very good. I'm not sure I understood why it was even there in the first place. But if you're going to put it there, like it needs to be good. And it was not good.
It needs to be good.
I thought like if you would put that on its own as like just a film, like a Sicario kind of film or something,
be interesting.
Like I would have been like, this is an interesting kind of story, and you could have done some creative filmmaking stuff that would have like kind of fed into that. It just that the music just took me out every time it came on, and I'm like, why am I watching this? So anyway, but I loved Wicked too. I thought that so. When I started this, I was like, man, this year is not as good as last year. I still don't know that it was good. I think like last year's crop of Best Pictures was really good. But it got deeper the more I got into it. And I was like, oh, there's some really good ones out there.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed it.
I feel the same way. Maybe not as good crop as last year, but pretty close. Suzy, what about you? Best Picture?
So I like kept going back and forth. Like I just like really could narrow it down.
You're like a beautiful mind. You're like,
I really was like, I'm like every year I've been scribbling. So I saw Wicked twice in the movie theater, and I cannot wait to go back and see it.
I've seen it multiple times, but I have it at home now, so we watch it at home.
I mean, I kind of, you made the perfect point when you were like, you didn't even look at your clock, you didn't look at your watch. I'm kind of judging this on films that I just really enjoyed and had a good time watching and was unaware of time and liked the characters. So, and I loved Wicked. I thought... that film was better in film than it was a book or a musical.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, interesting.
So that's why I'm like, that was the medium for it.
I've seen it on stage multiple times and have never been a fan.
Yes. I couldn't stand the
Until
book.
the
I only
movie.
got 100 pages in, and I was like, no. So that I think there's something to be said to that.
For sure.
I really like Dune 2.
Yeah.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I thought Dune 1 was boring, and it just built, but it's like Game of Thrones.
There's
right?
a lot to build,
where you take several episodes before it gets going. Dune 2 is where it got going.
Okay. That's good to know, because I had the same take on Dune Part 1.
It's building the story.
I guess I need to.
Dune 2 was good. I'm with you. I think Anora will probably win, and I'm here for it. I just thought it was really well done. I was along the ride with them, that crazy adventure, and all the characters, they made you laugh. They annoyed you. The way they interacted with each other was just, it was fun. There were so many moments where I laughed on that. Conclave, I liked. And but I haven't seen a Complete Unknown. I know that's going to be in my top 3.
Yeah,
so.
that was my top 2.
Amelia Perez was my second least film.
Yeah.
I just thought, I'm with you. I'm like, the music just felt so forced and weird, and didn't do anything for their focus or message. It felt muddled. I don't really know where we were going.
Yeah.
It seems to be. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it seems like that's a consistent. Did nobody ever say that? While they're getting ready to make it, they're like, "Well, I feel like we need better songs if we're going to do this." But there's no, it's a musical. We're doing this.
I do feel I'm going to take the last sentence I said. I'm going to make a song out of it.
I feel like if you're going to set a story in Mexico, maybe it should have some actual Mexican music, some Spanish music in it a little bit. But
I don't know what happened there.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. And Substance. Let's get to the Substance. Because it is fresh on my brain.
Yeah.
I have things to share.
I think overall, in the positive side of that, of the Substance, I like the message that they were getting across, and what Hollywood does to actors and what actresses in particular, and how they're kind of forced to look at their bodies and feel about themselves. And I like the messaging in it, and I do like that we get a body horror movie in this in Best Picture and Screenplay, and then Demi might win for Best Actress. So I like that. It's not my favorite movie of the year, but I like what it was doing.
No pun intended this, but it got real sloppy.
It did.
It got really sloppy, really silly. It was almost 2 hours that I'm not going to get back.
Right.
So, okay.
I'm with you.
And we talked about this. I love horror, too. I love a good scary movie.
Yeah.
I thought that it wasn't my favorite scary movie of this year. It was a body gore horror film.
Right.
I thought the messaging was very heavy-handed.
Oh, sure.
Almost we have to just come out and tell the audience what the symbolism is here. I don't need you to be that heavy-handed.
Did you catch this?
Did you catch it?
Yeah, on one hand you've got the brutalists operating on a certain kind of under level, and then you've got here comes the Substance with a sledgehammer ready to
it started off kind of like a cool story. I was like, okay, this is interesting, and it reminded me of Stephen King, the Thinner,
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then it started to then feel like a story from Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
I'm just watching a good old 80s Tales from the Crypt story.
Yeah.
And then by the end, it was like, what?
Wacko.
That was so silly. What are we
wacko.
doing here?
Yeah.
Did we just pay tribute to Carrie? What is happening?
I think I couldn't stop laughing at the
no
spoilers, but I think you're supposed to laugh.
It was
to
so
me, I think it was you're supposed to just laugh at the
It was
insanity.
over the top.
Yeah.
And I do love. It is fun that they threw a horror film in there, but if I'm going to say good scary movie for 2024, I thought X, the X series, do you know what I'm talking about? Was really good.
Okay.
The second one, I can't think it's the name. It's
Pearl?
Pearl. I thought Pearl was great.
What was the Maxine was the one that came out, I think, this past year.
But Substance was a hard miss for me. And I want to do a shout out because I really did. We talked about this last time. I wish Saturday Night had been nominated. I thought it was really good.
It was in my list of favorite movies from last year, along with Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah.
In my list. And it got nominated a couple times. I'd love to see it nominated for cinematography. I would love to see that go home with an actual Oscar.
Yeah.
You mentioned Challengers, Shutout.
Challengers was great too. See, those are
Civil War. I don't know if that was one that was like
I really like that one too.
Yeah. Challengers was really good. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't understand why.
A lot of critics are baffled at that one too. So not just me, but a lot of people are like, it's because a lot of times we know the Oscars, the Academy Awards, they like to kind of stand behind a movie that's got something to say, and sometimes a movie just for them can't just be
just a fun couple hours,
a fun kind of steamy tennis movie, with Zendaya. Like that's so. I think we've done it. Unless you guys have any other takes you want to, some burning takes. I thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Round of applause.
Hey, congratulations! Cathy gets the star for most
prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most highly penetrated list, right?
Would you like to make a speech?
Thank you.
Speech.
It did take a lot of time to watch all of these films and money.
You were sick for a good chunk, and you were able to.
I binged some stuff. Made 2 different trips to Louisville for double features both times.
That's impressive.
So, I was committed.
So you've watched every nominated movie now? Awesome. Good for you. Nice. You'll be ready to go.
Can't wait.
All right.
I have one shout out.
Sure.
Can I give a shout out? I'm going to do this for my husband and my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
One of their favorite films this year is 100 Beavers. Have you seen or watched 100 Beavers?
Suzy, your people are my people. That is amazing. That is that's my third favorite movie of the year, and I was kind of keeping it in.
Favorite of the year, and Luke's like, "Are you going to mention it?" And I'm like, "No," but then I was like, "Maybe I will." So, for those that don't know, it is a silent film.
Okay.
Of a beaver hunter.
Yep.
And it's it's a comedy. It has like this Looney Tunes feel to it.
My comparison that I tell people, I'll let you finish. My comparison was just it's like Looney Tunes mixed with like a video game or something. There's some video game mechanics, but it really is like a live action Looney Tunes movie. Okay. It's on Prime for folks.
It's interesting. It's something to give a watch to.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah.
I was in tears. It's only 90 minutes too. Oh my gosh. It's so funny.
And things come back full circle, like the jokes.
And what they're able to do with like a limited budget, low budget, but the visual effects. So good. We got to talk about some beavers today.
That's a way to wrap
Love it. All right. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today.
All the popcorn.
All
the popcorn. Yep. Yeah. Great job, Brett. Thanks so much to Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
Really appreciate that. The folks can, hopefully they feel very prepared and properly previewed for the Oscars. The 2025 Academy Awards ceremony is slated to take place on Sunday, March 2nd, hosted by Conan O'Brien at the Dolby Theater. I think he'll do a good job.
Yeah, I think he will too.
You live on ABC at 7 p.m.
I know. We didn't talk hosts.
No, I think he's going to do great.
I think he's going to be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good job. All right. Thank you all again for hanging out. Thanks to the viewers for watching. Remember, the Oscars are March 2nd at 7 p.m. on ABC, and we will see you next time on SnakChat.
Was I too loud and animated?
No.
At times I thought, am I yelling at everybody?